Okay, I think we are all set. I'm going to do it now.
Hi.
And one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Light Show, and we're so glad to invite Openledger's core contributor, Ren, to join us today and talk about the next generation's blockchain network for AI industry. And we're very glad to know that though he's really busy, right? But he's super eager to participate in our interview session over here. And without much saying, I'm going to reveal, the backstage over here. Ren, would you like to starting from introducing yourself, your role at Openledger, and also introducing the project Openledger to us? Thank you.
Absolutely. Hi, guys. I'm Ram. I am one of the core contributors at Openledger. We are a blockchain network for AI. We enable people to contribute, collaborate with data, and build specialized AI models. Personally, myself, I've been in the industry from 2017. Got into this because I got paid in Bitcoin. That's how I got into the space. Has been We've been big lovers of tech, especially the concept behind decentralization is something that we've been believing right from 2017. Not many people like we are talking about it. We When we were in the industry, probably there were 100 projects being built. So we started out as a blockchain R&D company, worked with a lot of enterprises and other blockchain firms in the industry, built out a very strong team, over 200 plus employees who've been developers in the blockchain space. Um, Openledger was an incubation out of that. It was an R&D project within this ecosystem. We wanted to build around the crypto AI space since we came from the background of crypto and also had a huge background in the machine learning space. We decided, why don't we do something around this, right? Why don't we bring these two deep tech together and build a product around that? So Openledger is the outcome of that, is an outcome of that thought. And our focus was to concentrate on data and model side. AI has three major categories: compute, data, and models. We wanted to focus more on the data and model side and build an infrastructure that can enable people to use and build specialized AI models. So that's what led to Openledger, and that's why we are here today.
Wow, thank you so much for the intro. And it was so nice that you could get paid in Bitcoins. That's just amazing back in 2017. That's very early. And so, Ren, you're definitely an OG in the Web3 and AI space over here. We're so glad to have you joining us to talk about these. And at the stage of specialized models, why general intelligence is not enough? Why do we need special AI models when large general purpose models like GPT-4 already exist? Ren, do you mind to enlighten us regarding this topic? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you take a look at larger language models, right, they're pretty much trained on internet data, data which is very generalized. Think of them to be like an undergrad, where they get very generic information of the world, and you can't do much about it, right? Because you can get like a context of, if anyone asks a query, you can get a context of that. A model can answer pretty basic questions. A model can use tool calling or other API requests to actually search the internet and give you answers. But that can be solved for queries that are very generic, that you have data on the internet. But for a category specific AI, right? An AI that has to be used for a particular category, let's say trading or DeFi, or even let's say like programming, right? You would need models which are focused for that particular sector, models which are purpose built for that particular sector. That's what we want to enable. We want to enable people to build specialized models which are much better than the generic models out there. We don't say that generic models are not going to be useless at all. We will not use them. In fact, these specialized models are built on top of larger language models, right? They are basically fine-tuned versions of these larger language models. And what we see envision is that a larger language model is sort of like your base layer, it's like an OS, and specialized model is the customized app on top of that, right? So both have to work together hand in hand. It would be like a swarm of models that will like be out there for apps and AI agents to use. So that's our generic. That's our major thought. Right? That's our thesis. That's how we work on. And another language model will give you context, right? As I told you, a specialized model is basically a fine-tuned version of this larger language model, where you collect data sets and you train on top of the specialized model and train on top of a larger language model and make it specialized for a particular category. And that is why we believe that we need like an end-to-end solution for this, where people have to need to have a platform where they can collect data, which is basically our data collection platform. And they need to have a platform they can basically use this data to train and build a model, which is a no-code model factory platform. And there needs to be a platform which attributes back, which basically you can track your data contribution and see how much you're getting paid for it. That's our attribution platform, our deployment layer. So these are the core components that we're building, right? And I'll give you an example why specialized models are like really needed. There is this team which is building a solidity model on top of this, a model that is focused for solidity programming language. A generic model like Cursor understands probably like 30 programming languages, but it's not an expert in solidity. It understands solidity, but it's not an expert, right? So there was a need for specialization over there. So a team decided to know that there is a specialization, there's a need for specialization for solidity. They started building this on top of us. They started collecting data sets around solidity, and then they started using our platform to fine tune and build a solidity model, right? So that is where the need for specialized models start to come in. People have realized that specialized model are focused towards certain niche criteria and areas. So Solidity is one good example. And there's another team which is building a DeFi model focused only for DeFi, right? They started to collect DeFi based data sets, and they're building a DeFi model which has on-chain and off-chain sentiment data. And this model is much better to provide use cases for DeFi agents compared to any generic large language model out there. It has outperformed DeFi based queries than a chat GPT or a llama model, right? So these are two examples of this, right? Think of this across various categories in the globe, right? A model for healthcare, a model for staking, a model for a particular category around, let's say, a move programming language. It could be models around various use cases that can be built on top of us, which people are envisioning and trying to build. And we are in testnet right now. There are about 10 specialized models being currently built. We would want to see more models being built as we go mainnet, but those are examples of what can be built on Opens.
Ah, well noted. Thank you so much, Ren, for
I hope
letting
you can hear me
us.
well. There is some background noise. I still hope you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you clearly. No worries. And thank you for the insightful explanation. So, well, that really let us learn about why we still, yeah, need more, right? And general intelligence isn't just enough. So we have a follow-up question. Let's talk about specialized models and specialized data as well. Why it is not just the parameter that matter, because what role does data play in building effective specialized models, and is it more important than model size or parameter count? And you are an expert, so we have the question for you. Thank you.
Um, could you repeat the last part
Yeah,
again?
so we wanted to know about what role does data play in building effective specialized models. Is it
Yeah.
more important than model size or parameter count? Thank you.
So data is pretty much the most important aspect over here, right? Because based on the data sets that you have, based on the data set that you can collect, you're able to specialize your model much better than a generic larger language model. The biggest bottleneck here is data, right? Most of the larger language models have been trained on very generic data, data that you can find on the internet. A specialized model is where you have a specialized a data set that is focused to a particular category that's been collected by users and that's been accumulated in a platform, which is then used to train a model. So data is probably one of the most important components here, and that is one of the reasons why a platform is started with data. Right? It starts with data collection, where people are able to collect specialized data sets to a particular category, and then they start to go ahead and fine tune models on others. So I would say that's the most important aspect. And if you take a look at it, our attribution piece is focused towards rewarding data contributors. Data contributors are the most significant players in this overall pipeline in enabling specialized models to be built. And as part of that, we want to make sure they get rewarded. We want to make sure that the data contributors get paid for the model development. As these model gets developed, as these model gets used, data contributors have to be rewarded based on the model usage, right? Every time a model is inferred, every time a model is being interacted with and you get an answer, on every inference we figure out which data caused that inference to happen, right? Which data made sure this output came in. And then we rank those data sets accordingly and we rank the data contributors accordingly. And we reward them based on every inference, based on every output that came in, the revenue that came in, that is shared between the model developer and the data contributor. So we enforce that. So that's a very important piece to Openledger. I think the more high quality data sets a model developer can collect, better the models can be, better output the models can give. And we want to make sure the data contributors get rewarded for it. In a larger language model, data providers are basically people who contribute data sets on the internet. They're not getting rewarded because they scrape the internet, right? But in a specialized model, the data is probably among subject matter expert, skilled users, or SMEs, right? Smaller organizations out there. So you want to make sure that you can reward them, you can incentivize them for contributing data. So that's that's the core thesis of OpenLether. We want to make sure that anyone who enables these specialized models to be built, especially data contributors, they have to be rewarded as part of the process because that's what makes these models special. So yes, so
Note.
to answer your question,
Yes, thank
that's
you
the
so much, Ran. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely amazing points over there. And I also want to let you know that right now we have over 10,000 live audience on our Binance side watching. So I wanted to highly encourage everyone to go to X or Twitter to give Openledger a follow or follow Ran's personal account and already post an announcement on X and also across our community's various platforms, right, including our Discord and Telegram, WeChat group. So we want everyone to just go to X and give Ran and Openledger a follow because this is a team that has been building for so many years and decades in the Web3 and AI industries. So the following question over here that we have for Ran is that, well, we would like to know how our AI infrastructure needs evolving with the rise of domain specific and specialized models. Thank you.
so with evolvement of the data, like the domain specific models, right? What really kind of like evolves from there is like you would need to have like an end-to-end platform that can collect data sets that are very unique, right? Data sets that can be very domain specific. If you take a look at our platform, right? Um, as I told you before, there are three major components. The first component is data collection. The second component is the model development. The third component is the attribution or the deployment layer. And the first component that we concentrate on is the data collection part. And in this, we let the model developers decide what kind of data sets they want to collect. They write the rule engine. It's a contract layer that they choose, which has the rule engine of what kind of data sets has to be collected. Based on the model development, based on the model that needs to be proposed by users, we let them program what kind of data set has to be collected. We let them tell, okay, let's say the model is around programming, code descriptions and code and stuff like that has to be collected. Then they collect data sets very similar to that. If a model is about healthcare and they need data point for people to contribute, let's say for body vitals, sleep data, and all that, then they go ahead and provide a contract and a rule engine for that. If a model is about a particular category, but they need information, knowledge from people, then it's probably text data, right? So based on the domain that they wish to build for, our product or our dashboard is customizable for them to collect the data sets accordingly. And we made the platform in a way that it's like a contract layer. So the contract has to be written in a way that they want, where they go ahead and describe what kind of data sets has to be contributed. Based on that, users go ahead and contribute data on the platform. So yes, the domain specific models when they get built, you need domain specific data sets that can be collected. And our product enables people to do that. A product provides the infrastructure for people to do that.
Well noted. Thank you so much for letting us know about that. And definitely very enlightening as we move beyond just training massive foundation models. We're also entering an era where, well, foundational right stacks and also like modular right and interoperable or scalable infrastructures are becoming very important as well. Thank you, Ram. And well, since you are an AI tech expert, right? We also wanted to continue to ask you more relative questions. Let's talk about how will you compare the function of large language models or LLM to that of specialized models that we previously talked about? Thank you.
Yeah, so a larger language model is a very general purpose model. It can be used for solving major of average human needs, right? It's like how Google search pretty much solves most of our problems, but we still opt for very specific searches like a LinkedIn search or a food search or a search for a job or whatever, right? So there is always a generic technology that can be used to solve predominant problems. But when you go much more niche, where you need hard solutions, where you need very specific solutions, then you would need to go for specialized models. So that's what we concentrate on. We concentrate on providing a platform on which users can choose what specialization is needed for the market. For example, as I told you, solidity is a specialization that was needed. That is what enabled solidity models to be built on top of this. There is a specialization needed for trading. People are building models around trading. Bloomberg GPT is a very popular model that was launched by Bloomberg, and it claims to be one of the best financial models out there. It outperforms ChatGPT and like any other generic models because it is trained specifically for finance, right? So, like this, people figure out areas and like basically task specific models, domain specific models that they believe is very useful, and they start to build models for that particular purpose and for that particular function. So I would see people building models for healthcare because there's a model already being built on us, right? There is a medical model being built that's focused towards healthcare. I would see people building models for various cultures because a larger language model has a very generic knowledge, right? It doesn't have like a knowledge for a particular culture or a knowledge for a particular demographic. So that is very much needed. Um, Models for language is a huge deal. Like not every language is understood by a model. So models for indigenous languages, models for certain dialects is very much needed as well. So there are categories, niche categories that can be kept on unraveling as AI becomes much more bigger, as AI gets into various spaces. You would need to have models for that, and that I would envision all of those functions can be built using Openledger, and we provide the necessary toolkits for that. And those are some of the examples of functions that can be solved with a specialized model, which predominantly cannot be solved with generalized model. A generalized model can give a solution, but it will not be the best solution out there. It will not be the best output from a model. It will hallucinate a lot. It will mislead you to give certain answers. But a specialized model is purpose built for that question that you might ask in a particular category. So the answers will be much better and much more solid as well.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Ren, for letting us know about that. Well, we hope next time maybe you could prepare some web pages or some um, PowerPoint slides to share with us so we could also look at the pictures, and that would help us in terms of the visual guide, right? Thank you. And the next question we have for you is, let's talk about domain specific model over here. Why do you believe domain specific models will become more intellectual property or IP in the AI era? Thank you.
So I think your questions around domain specific models to be
IP
IPs.
of the AI era. Yes.
Okay. Domain specific models, if a domain specific model is built for, let's say, a very niche proprietary data sets, uh, where the data sets are owned by the companies themselves, then that's the company's IP. The company owns that IP. The company has the data, and it could be a proprietary IP that is owned by that particular model developer. So it comes down to what kind of models is being built and what kind of data sets has been used to build these models. Um, if we are able to know what kind of um, data sets they are, if they're proprietary, then sure, they would own that IP, and then those models could be their own IP, right? Those models could be their own intellectual property. It is similar to any artifact that is built, any artifact that is being built using a technology. If it's their own proprietary content, then it's pretty much their own IP. That's how I would see specialized models to be their own IPs as well. So it comes down to the ownership of the data set that they trained on to make it an IP that they own.
Got it. And that was definitely a very powerful point. Wow, I feel like we learned a lot of very high tech knowledge over here today. So, well, how about let's talk about variable intelligence. How does OpenLedger power trustworthy AI agents? And for example, like how does OpenLedger contribute to building trustworthy AI agents, and what does variable intelligence actually mean? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think one of the most important aspect for agents is that they have to be verifiable in terms of the actions that they take, right? Over here, there is multiple ways you can handle this. Agents could be verifiable on the contract level. You can bound it by the contract. Agents could be verifiable on the inference level. You can bound it by its inference. Agent could be verifiable on what are the actions that it takes based on the data that was feeded for it, right? We handle it more on the data and model side. Every time an agent goes ahead and infers on our models, based on the action it is taken based on the inference. If something goes wrong, let's say the agent goes wrong, it did an action it's supposed not to do, we'll be able to go and check the inference it used, and we'll be able to go and see which data that the model was trained for made this inference to happen, right? Some data that is trained on is what is used by the model to give you an output. So if an output was given to an agent and it actually did something rogue, then we might be able to go back and see which data point exactly caused that output to come, which data point influenced the agent to actually, influence the model to actually give you that output. So in that, once you're able to figure out that data point, we'll be able to plot it on chain and showcase that this particular data point is the one which actually caused this output to come, which then you could actually basically use to remove those biases and not use them again in the model. So what it happens is basically makes these models much more explainable. If you take a look at it, larger language models are a black box, right? You don't know how it performs. You don't know what are the components it's being used inside. You don't know the algorithm very well. The data sets are never open. So you don't have much visibility into the model because you don't know how the data is actually used and output comes in. But in the fine-tuned layer, right, it's a layer that you superimpose on these larger language models. So you have visibility there, right? You have visibility on the fine-tuned layer piece. we're able to figure out which data actually causes an output from the fine-tuned layer. And we use a paper called Data Inf. So it's by a professor called James Zaub. He's based out of Stanford. We worked with them over the last 1 year, where we made sure that this theoretical paper, which has an off-chain compute, is executed practically and is moved on-chain. So that's the core thesis of OpenLedger, right? Our protocol, a layer two, is built for attribution, is based on this paper called Data In, where we are able to figure out which data causes a model's output and why that happens, and how we can use that to attribute and reward people. Number two, how we can use that to attribute and explain these models better. So once you're able to explain the model, once you're able to explain why this model is giving a certain action, then your agent can be tracked. If something goes wrong, it probably caused because of the data that was used in the model. You might be able to go back, solve that. You might be able to go back and remove the biases. In fact, on the other side, if an agent behaves well, an agent outperforms the way you expected, it passes the benchmarking test, then you can collect more of the data that actually made it perform well as well. So it becomes very counteractive. You can make sure that models are developed better. You can build better models with this. You can make the model development much more easier by making the model explainable. So that if something goes wrong, you could stop that. If something goes well, you can add more of that. So that's that's sort of like our way on how we see agents have to be monitored and verifiable. And I think that's how OpenEdge sees this as well.
Well noted. Thank you so much. Well, it's a very important topic. Let we wrap up the interview session regarding technology part. And do you have some time to answer our audience questions? Because right now we got over 10,000 live audience right here, and people have questions that they already posted in the comments. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that would be great. Thank you, Ren. So everyone, I would like to do a rundown really quick. So you are joining our interview session with OpenLedger's core contributor Ren, and he has been talk a lot about like AI development and just innovations in the next era, in the AI era, right, which has been amazing. So I saw that some people are curious about if you could share roadmaps of OpenLedger's plan, like in this year. And another question that was also asked quite often, definitely about when TGE, right? If you could answer those questions, that would be great. What the first one is roadmaps for this year, and the next one is TGE plan. Thank you.
Yeah, so the product is in testnet right now. We started our testnet in December, and we've been having amazing experience from the community. We've got close to about a million, about 1.1 million users that are onboarded to the testnet. We've had amazing support from the community as well in terms of product feedback. We are in testnet 2 right now. We're going mainnet in about 2 months' time, and post mainnet we'll be releasing various features in the product. We'll have an end-to-end product working for the mainnet, and then post that, every quarter we'll have a feature that is being currently developed in the product that will be added to the mainnet product as well. So right now, people can go ahead and participate in our data contribution. The testnet 2 will also enable people to test out and build models on top of us. And the mainnet will be completely permissionless, where anyone can use the platform, collect data, build models, and deploy it and reward data contributors for that. So all of that will go live. And on TGE, I'm not able to comment right now because it's. I think that should come as a news to you guys. One thing that I can say is we're definitely. It's going to be pretty soon. We are really excited to make sure that token launches so that people can actually use a token, participate in a network, build models, reward people. So the Openledger token is an integral part to our ecosystem. So we want to make sure that it's used accordingly. We have our own frameworks, we have our own regulations that we will have to follow to make sure that it's part of the network and it's part of the product that is there. We will announce about that very soon, and the community will be the first ones to know about it.
Got it. Thank you so much, Ren, for letting us know about that. And I also want to remind all of our audience over here. I see people start to say, thank you, Ren. Very great AMA session. I wanted to remind everyone to give Openledger a follow on X and join the community so you are going to get the most up to date information from them, especially some questions that you're eager to know about, right? I know so many of our friends want to know TG plan and upcoming plan for the year. So be sure to give them a follow so you won't miss any upcoming updates from Openledger. Also, another quick update from us is that soon we are going to have the second AMA session with Openledger, and it will probably be conducted on X Spaces. So will be a different platform, and we're very glad to be able to ask you more questions in our next one. And I believe we have covered a lot of ground today, so tend to ship toward, well, thanks to Ren for joining us today. Right, I know you're so busy, still traveling, and also thanks to our audience that we have over 10,000 live audience. That's a great turnout. And if you miss any part of the session, don't worry about it because we have replays that you could watch. Just come back to Binance Live and then click on the same link. You'll be able to watch a replay. And at the very end, Ren, we would like to ask if there are any additional information that you'd like to share with us, but we haven't discussed
Yeah,
about yet. Thank you.
no, I'm very excited. I think pretty much we covered most of it. There are a couple of updates that we'll be announcing soon in our socials. Please follow our Twitter. It's at OpenLedger HQ. We have about 10 plus projects being currently deployed in our platform in our testnet already. We have more projects that are being currently built, and we have some interesting partnerships, enterprises in Web3, in Web and in Web2 as well, who are using our infrastructure to build specialized models. All of that will be announced in the couple of weeks. So I would love to have you guys follow our Twitter and watch out more for this news. And thanks for the time and getting me here and helping me talk about OpenLedger. It was good talking to you guys.
That is just amazing. Thank you, Ren. And everyone, stay tuned for our upcoming session. Don't forget to drop your question and thoughts in the community or in our comment sections. Until next time, well, this is Room on My Show. We're signing off now. Thank you. Thank you, Ren. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. I'm going to bring our cover back and then play some music.